Did you finish moving? I was putting my things together and finishing packing them into my suitcase when I was called from behind. The one who called out to me was my husband's mistress, who was looking at me with a grin. Next to her, my husband, who should have been on my side, was also grinning. Well, normally, it's impossible to have a mistress. The movers will be here in 30 minutes, so the move will be complete then. In my words, both my husband and his mistress smiled and high-fived each other. Now that the nuisance is gone. Yeah, that's right. From now on, it'll just be you and me. And so, even though I was in the same space as them, they entered their own world. I thought to myself, do it somewhere else, but at the same time I thought, these two are finished. After all, they were about to face reality. My name is Arya. I'm a 32-year-old office worker. I married Eric 3 years ago, but we don't have any children between us. Even when I said I wanted children, Eric kept avoiding the topic. At first, I thought maybe Eric didn't want to have children with me because he didn't like them. But recently, I've come to realize that it's not the case. I noticed something was wrong with my husband when he came home smelling strongly of alcohol on a day he said he had to work overtime. He was so drunk that he couldn't answer properly. When I went near him as he came back to the entranceway, he hugged me and said, "Natalie, I want to be with you more." I naturally wondered who Natalie was. But before I could ask him about it, Eric said, "I'm going to divorce that wife soon for Natalie's sake. You're waiting without cheating, right?" So instead of immediately questioning him about it, I tried to get information from him in his current state. I asked him while imagining what kind of woman she was. "Hey, when is that?" "What? When are you going to divorce your wife?" "Wife, you always call her a stupid woman. What's up today?" I couldn't help but grimace. That woman is calling me a stupid woman. Moreover, Eric is my husband and yet he just laughs along with her when she insults his wife and doesn't deny anything. Anyway, when are you planning on getting divorced? What should I do? Arya isn't even beautiful or anything, but she's really popular with my parents for some reason. So first I'll tell my parents about Arya's bad side and fill in the moat. Wow, you're thinking about something like that? Amazing. Right? Even at work, I'm recognized as my father's successor and have a promising future. It's easy for me to come up with such a simple plan. He let go of me and puffed out his chest, saying, I thought, what a stupid sight, but I didn't say anything and just smiled at him. Wow, amazing. What are you going to do after filling the moat? Isn't it great? After filling the moat, I'll stick the divorce papers that I've hidden under the bed on his face. She'll be surprised when she finds out that I have already filled out the divorce papers. I bet she'll look like a complete idiot. I think your current face looks much more foolish than me. Anyway, I know he is serious about divorcing me. He'll have spread false rumors about me to his parents, isolate me, and then hand me the divorce papers. It may be a good strategy. However, it is only valid if I do not suspect that Eric is cheating on me and I am unaware of the contents of the plan. Now that I have heard the details of the plan from him and also suspect that he is dating a woman with similar sensibilities, the moment when both Eric and his mistress's lives are going to hit rock bottom may have been confirmed since the moment their affair was exposed. What will happen to this house if you kick out your wife? Well, this house was bought by my father, so it's only natural for me to continue living here. So I'll ask Arya to leave this house. The divorce will happen after my parents start hating Arya, so my father probably won't complain about kicking Arya out. I was relieved that I always kept my smartphone in my pocket. No matter how close I am to my in-laws, even if I tell them that their son is thinking such foolish things, my father-in-law and mother-in-law will not easily believe me. That's why I needed solid evidence. I took out my cell phone and started recording. I succeeded in making Eric talk about what he was going to do to me and what he knew about his mistress several times. I was preparing to go to my in-laws' house on the next holiday with that audio data. Then Eric came there. Are you going out? Yes, I'm going to talk to your father and mother now. When I said that, he made a face. From his point of view, the purpose of talking to my in-laws is to make me look bad, so he probably doesn't want me to get along with them. However, even if he tells me not to approach my in-laws, it would look suspicious if I obeyed him. Don't bother your father and mother too much. Maybe you're the only one who thinks you're close. He did his best to intimidate me. What do you mean by, you're the only one who thinks you're close? There are things like that too. My father and mother are just being kind to you because you're my wife, and they may not think about getting along with you. That's not true. Besides, why would you say something like that when your parents and wife are getting along? It's like you don't want me to get along with your father-in-law and mother-in-law. I said so because I knew he was trying to spread bad rumors about me to my in-laws and ruin my reputation. It must have hit home for him. However, he couldn't admit it there. I was just worried about you. Don't keep my father and mother waiting. Even if they hate you, I don't care. He said that and went out too. I didn't ask him where he was going exactly, but I had a hunch that he was going to see that woman. However, I don't have time for him now. I headed to my in-laws' house because I told them I'd go a few days ago, as I had contacted my mother-in-law and father-in-law. When I handed them a box of sweets as a souvenir, my mother-in-law received it happily and welcomed me. To be honest, I came here today to talk to you about something. As I started talking with a serious expression, my father-in-law and mother-in-law looked at each other wondering what it could be. Since they seemed willing to listen to me, I spoke honestly. Eric mistakenly hugged me while calling out another woman's name when he came home drunk the other day. He is planning to divorce me and kick me out of the house to be with that woman. In the process, he has been spreading bad rumors about me to his parents so that they won't take my side. While telling them everything, I played Eric's voice recording on my smartphone. Both my mother-in-law and father-in-law turned pale. They probably never thought their son would do such a thing. Sorry, Arya. My son has been very rude. My father-in-law bowed his head, almost touching the table, so I said, neither of you did anything wrong. Eric and his mistress are the ones at fault. Please don't bow your heads to me. I asked my in-laws for help today, not to apologize for their son's infidelity. I think Eric will tell you all sorts of lies about me from now on. And if he finds out that you're not on his side, he'll take action. So I want you both to pretend that you were fooled by Eric. Fooled by him. My mother-in-law and father-in-law looked at each other again. Does that mean if Eric says something bad about Arya, you want us to pretend we believe him? Yes, that's right. I think Eric will become more relaxed as his plan goes well, and he'll be more likely to make mistakes. My father-in-law had some idea of what I was talking about. He said, oh, in agreement, but held his head in his hands. Eric works at the company where my father-in-law is president. By the way, I also work at the same company, and that's where Eric and I met. Our relationship developed from there, but it seems that Eric's love is fickle. I can't believe he would switch to another woman after approaching me so much. Anyway, my father-in-law knows how Eric works at the company, so he probably agreed with me that being too relaxed can lead to mistakes. Because of his many mistakes, Eric is still an ordinary employee despite his father being the president of the company, and he cannot get promoted or get a raise. Anyway, from now on, I'm going to hire a private investigator to investigate Eric and his mistress and get divorced. My father-in-law and mother-in-law agreed with my idea. Maybe they were already close to me anyway, but they probably agreed because they are serious people who cannot forgive their son's infidelity. Anyway, now that I have their cooperation, all I have to do is wait for the private investigator's investigation and claim compensation for adultery from Eric and his mistress before divorcing him. However, Eric and his mistress acted faster than I did. I have someone I want to introduce you to today. Saying that, he brought a woman into the house. Her name was Natalie. She was a woman who was identified as Eric's mistress by a private detective agency. It seems that she and Eric met at an acquaintance's wedding and fell in love at first sight, according to a mutual acquaintance. They must have thought that I didn't know about their affair, so they were relaxed and made the stupid mistake of talking to others. Well, it was lucky for me, but even so, I was amazed that the private detective agency hadn't hidden it so much. When I heard that, I was amazed and said, I married a terrible man. Even though I was amazed by that alone, I never thought that Eric's mistress would be brought to my house. Moreover, Natalie, who was brought to this house, smiled and said, "You're such a stupid woman. Eric and I are getting along well in this house, and you're living carelessly without noticing it at all. Well, your affair was obvious. But I felt it would be tasteless to talk about the fact that your affair had been exposed here and now, so I decided to watch their behavior for a while longer." Then the two of them began to talk about what they had done as if they had accomplished something great. "Oh, that expensive bed we bought when you started living together? Natalie and I used it a lot. When you weren't at work." "That's right. You said you broke into your savings to buy it? It's such a great bed that we'll keep using it from now on. I work for the same company as Eric, and our company usually has weekends off, so I think Eric is working when I'm working. Did he skip work and bring Natalie home?" I had to explain it to my father-in-law, who is also the president later. "This house was bought by my father when you and I got married. In other words, it's my house. So you don't have the right to live in this house anymore because you are no longer loved by me. Pack your things now. What are your father-in-law and mother-in-law saying?" At my words, Eric looked at me with a triumphant smile. "My father and mother believe that you are a bad daughter-in-law because they heard it from me. If you don't like it so much, why don't you get divorced? They're also pushing for divorce with you. There is no one on your side." It seems that my father-in-law and mother-in-law pretended to be deceived by Eric as I requested. While relieved that the plan was going well, I headed for the bedroom, took out the divorce papers he had hidden under the bed, and returned to the living room. And I filled it out in front of him and Natalie. Both of them were curious about why I had divorce papers and why I wrote my name on them so easily. But apparently they were more happy about the fact that Eric and I were getting divorced. "Now we're done with this guy. Yay! Eric." They hugged each other and shared their joy together. As soon as I finished filling out my column, Eric snatched the divorce papers from my hand and left the house with Natalie happily. He probably wants to divorce while I haven't changed my mind and marry Natalie. After they were gone, I immediately contacted a certain place. It was a garbage collection company. The company agreed to come tomorrow, so I breathed a sigh of relief. All I had to do was pack up my things and prepare to move at any time. I had decided where to move since I started thinking about divorcing Eric, so I had been sending my belongings there little by little. So my belongings were packed in a large suitcase and put in cardboard boxes to be sent to my new place, and everything was settled. And the next day, Natalie asked me with a grin on her face as I finished packing my suitcase, "Have you finished moving?" Eric was also grinning like her next to her. These two must be excited that they can finally live together in this house as a couple. As I moved my suitcase, I said, "The movers will be here in 30 minutes, so the move will be complete then." Eric and Natalie smiled and high-fived each other at my words. "Now we can get rid of the nuisance." "That's right. From now on, it's just the two of us." And even though we were in the same space, they entered their own world. I thought, do it somewhere else, but at the same time, I thought, they're done for. Because I'm going to have the garbage collection company pick up the expensive bed I bought and all the convenient furniture, appliances in this house. After 30 minutes, as scheduled, a garbage truck stopped in front of our house. Eric and Natalie smiled and let the workers into the house as if they were getting rid of me. Then I said to the worker, "The biggest thing is the bed in the bedroom. Also, please take the refrigerator, microwave oven, and sofa." Eric and Natalie, who were listening to my words next to me, opened their eyes wide. Of course, I thought so. They wanted those, but I was trying to have the garbage collection company pick up the necessary bed and appliances. Wait a minute. The bed and money are mine. Don't do whatever you want. Eric grabbed my shoulder and said that to me, but I shook his hand off. As you know too well, I bought that bed with my own salary. And also furniture and appliances. You said it was too much trouble to go to an electronics store, so I chose them and bought them with my money. Everything in this house except for things like what you bought for your hobby is something I bought. When Natalie heard my words, she glared at Eric. Hey. That's not what you said. Everything that belongs to my wife belongs to me. He said she couldn't do anything and would just leave penniless. She confronted Eric. I was betrayed by my husband who cheated on me, but he had no right to say that I would leave penniless. Of course, I'll claim damages for your affair from both of you. Please look forward to receiving a certified letter from a lawyer. As you said before, this house belongs to your father-in-law, so please discuss what you want to do with him from now on. Eric seemed to remember his father's existence in my words, and he quickly returned to his grinning expression. My father is your company's president. That means you'll be fired for making me angry. I'm his only son. Even if he hesitates, if I talk to personnel, I'll kick you out of the company right away. While the movers were carrying the luggage, Eric was boasting of his victory to me. Since I had already cleaned up, the house was empty. I'll ask my father to buy new appliances, furniture, and a luxury bed. It's embarrassing to say that you can't buy it with your own money, but he doesn't seem to understand that. I left the house with my suitcase after the movers finished their work. However, a few minutes later, it seems that Eric and Natalie's house was invaded by his parents. Eric, who thought they were both on his side, introduced Natalie with a smile, but his parents glared at her and said, "We've decided to put this house up for sale. Get out now." Eric was surprised to be told to leave by parents who he thought were on his side. What? What do you mean? Father. You gave this house to me, didn't you? I let you live in this house because I thought it would be fine if you and Arya got along well, but the name is still mine. So it's my freedom to sell this house. But we're going to live here even if Arya isn't here from now on. I knew all of Arya's bad-mouthing about you was a lie. But I thought you would do something stupid, so I let you swim. Arya asked me to do that. Arya asked you to do that. Then why do you believe Arya more than your own son and treat me so badly? Arya explained your misdeeds with evidence. You just talked without any evidence. It's obvious which one to believe. And what I disliked most was your attitude. My attitude? You're the heir. What kind of stupid son doesn't know that our company is merit-based even though he works for us? It's embarrassing that you think you can interfere with personnel. You're relaxed because it's your father's company. So I'm firing you. Eric broke down in tears at his father's merciless dismissal and words telling him to leave the house. Natalie also tried to escape because she thought he was useless, but Eric wouldn't let her go. The two of them began their worst newlywed life. Now they are borrowing a place that used to be a relative's storage shed and working hard every day to repay me for damages and to live.